I'm going to tell you what is wrong with the film industry and why we're not going to theaters. You know what is one of the things about doing a woman-centric Aarya, like, you know, where she carries a gun? The biggest problem is, where does she keep the gun?
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're wearing women's clothing, in a man's clothing, you can like shove it in your belt or wherever you want, and it doesn't matter, you know. But when you're wearing women's clothing, then you don't know where to keep. So that means you can only keep the gun in your bag. Is your opinion of me my identity? Am I only as good as you think I am? As soon as you're agenda driven, then you're in trouble. Don't work with me if you're not going to be on time.
Now, welcome to AfterHours Season 4 powered by Catch. I have to say that I think I may be one of the most ardent fans of Aarya that you have met so far.
Nice, thank you.
And I say that very responsibly so, because I think that I've seen every episode multiple times.
Wow.
And I think it's one of the strongest sort of female voices that I've heard in a while.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
So thank you for making it.
No, it's, we were meant to make it like, I think 9 years before it got made. And I was meant to make it as a movie. And then it didn't happen. And it didn't happen a month before I was meant to shoot. And like the whole cast it was all on. And it was just another story in another normal day of filmmaking, which is it didn't happen. But I gave myself 24 hours to cry. I scheduled my crying. Because what happened was, when I called up my whole team, like 30, 40 of them, and they all were so sweet about me, they said, don't worry, this will happen, we're with you, etc. By the third call, I started crying. By the 50th call, 30th, 40th call, I said, okay, I don't think I can take this anymore. And I said, I'm going to cry till 12 noon tomorrow. And so I scheduled it, and I stopped crying at 12 noon. I said, otherwise.
But were you sobbing incessantly? We must know. Till 12 noon.
No, I wasn't sobbing incessantly, nor did I become an alcoholic, nor did I actually do my go-to. Last night, when I, I also received some other piece of news, which I won't tell you about, but my go-to therapeutic thing was 2 sandeshes.
You know, sweet will do that to you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's brilliant.
That was it. But sorry, apart from 2 sandeshes, if I'm being very honest, I also had 2 raskadams. What they call
is
kheer kadam.
raskadam?
It's like a kheer kadam. You've never had a kheer kadam?
No.
Please, it is a thing. Okay. So it's called raskadam or kheer kadam. You should try it.
Okay. And that will get me out of my sorrow? I'll try it.
Yes, there are various ways that you can get mood boosters. Aarya is one of them. Watch it.
Of course. You know, I remember this one scene so distinctly, and I remember it's the finale where it's Holi.
Right.
Yes,
season 2. Yeah.
Season 2 finale, Holi, the sort of last bit that's happening.
Yeah.
And then she lights...
Digambar Khele Masane Mein Holi is the song that is playing. Yeah.
And she lights up that cigar.
Yes.
And the way it's shot, oh my God. Beauty.
No, I think that series without Sushmita Sen is not really, when she asked me, how do you think I should play Aarya? I said, just be Sushmita Sen.
Fair enough. I would understand why you would say that, because I think that truly she's one of the most sort of outstanding and, you know, amazingly courageous people that we've seen.
I've had the good fortune of hanging out with her, which is one of the benefits of having made Aarya. And really just to be just to have conversations with her and to see how she deals with her life, and to see and to have chatted with her is something which is a precious kind of boon that the universe and Miss Universe gave.
Yeah. No, I would imagine so. And I think that I know the word comeback just sounds lame almost, because what does that even mean?
Yeah.
But I think we hadn't seen her in a while.
I think she was waiting for about 8 or 10 years to see what would come her way. And when we met her first, Amita, my co-producer, and myself, And I said, listen, this is the way I shoot. I don't say action. I don't say cut. I use 4 cameras. I call it System 360. And this is what the show is about. And she said, I'm doing it. And I said, okay, thank you. That's great. And then I walked out with Amita. And at the elevator, I said, Amita, this is not going to happen, right? This is just another actress who's basically saying, yes, yes, we'll do it and I'll get back to you and all that.
But does that happen very often where people just say yes, yes and don't do it?
100%. This happens all the time. But with Sushmita Sen, when she tells you, she's straight. When she tells you yes, it means that, you know. And so that day when she said yes, I was complete. And then when we spoke to her team and her lawyers and everybody, Priyanka is a lawyer, and I think that's when we realized that yes, it is happening. And until that time, and of course, in this mountain that we've chosen to climb, which is the movies that we in the series that we make, you don't know until you've climbed it that it's actually happening.
Yeah.
So
it's never done until it's done.
And also what happens is that I have a friend, Gagan, who's in Bangkok. He's a chef. His mother said, if you climb a mountain, you can't go from mountain to mountain. You have to climb down the mountain and then climb up again. And in this mountain that I'm climbing of cinema, there is a lot of landslides. There is a lot of frostbite. And there is no clothing that you can wear that can protect you from the weather.
But why is cinema dying now? Like, why is it that just some outlier movies are doing these box office collections and everything else just, have we forgotten what works is just, has everything, the landscape changed so much that we've not adapted to it? What is the deal?
I'm going to tell it to you right now.
Please say it, sir.
Watch out, everybody. This is going to come from the Pandit himself.
Yeah, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for this prediction.
No, there is no. How can you even ask me that question? I'm not going to duck it. But, you know, everybody is in the same boat and we're all trying to figure it out. And we're trying to figure out why this is happening. And when was the last time you went for a movie? Tell me.
I went to watch Superboys in Maligaon.
Right. Yeah. So you've been recently.
I've been recently.
So then that's great.
Yeah.
I'm one of those guys who's not been for a long time myself.
You know, but I will say that from watching a movie maybe once a month.
Right. Yeah.
Which I did, let's say, pre-COVID.
Right.
It has reduced to maybe once a quarter now.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm watching a movie, you know, once every month.
Yeah. I think also we're probably going for movies which are community party hall viewing. It's not any longer independent personal viewing. It's now you have to go so that you basically laugh together, cheer together, CT maro together, eat together, cry together, which is what I did in Neerja, because I feel that when we've lost the ability to cry, and the darkened theater allows you to cry. So I think that one of the things that you can do in a theater is cry privately, because it's a private space. You can't do it actually when you're watching it publicly on your phone or on your iPad, or even sometimes at home you can't do it because unless you're alone. But if you're with 2-3 people, you can't cry. It's in the theater somehow, because it's dark, you can cry. And I think in Neerja, people were like crying from what people told me, they were crying from their stomach.
No, I completely agree. I cried a lot watching that movie.
I think we've forgotten how to cry. I think there's so many bad things happening, and, you know, that we don't cry anymore. So I think one of the things in Aarya was that apart from it being about Aarya and about her being, you know, going through what she went through, it was also a tragedy. And it was also something that told you what all like she had to go through. And then in season 3, she even loses what all she actually wanted to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like tragedy.
I can see.
Yeah. No.
I think dying people and people crying is something clearly you enjoy.
I feel that there is a certain emotional nerve that I can press, and in pressing that nerve to move people in that feeling is something which like we have in Hindi movies. You have the comic hero, you have the action hero, and we used to have the tragic hero with Dilip Kumar.
Yeah.
and even when Shah Rukh Khan has played tragic
the
roles,
exactly.
We have lost the tragic hero, and we don't any longer have the tragic hero. We need a tragic hero or a tragic heroine like Meena Kumari. They used to call her the tragic heroine, or the tragedy queen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But could one say Ranbir Kapoor is now a solid potential for that?
Like which role would you say? Yeah, would you think?
I always feel like he plays all these men who are just who are crying over, like Ae Dil Hai Mushkil. I would feel is one such.
Certainly, yeah, certainly, yeah. But I think that there is no defining role yet. Dilip Kumar had defining roles. Shah Rukh Khan had a defining role. We are yet waiting for this generation's tragic hero defining role.
Who do you think has potential?
Oh, don't even ask me that. I'm nobody to say who has potential.
Of course, you're a director. You're allowed to say who has potential to be the legendary tragic hero.
They all have potential. None of them are. They are all like, these are all people who are. I mean, I'm not saying this out of any modesty or out of any sort of diplomacy. They all. There's not a single. There. In fact, I think like talent should be taken for granted. Of course, you're there because you're talented. Of course, you're there because you can act. Of course, you're there because you can, sort of go out there and do what you need to do.
Some are there and are not talented. I will argue and say.
I don't know. I take talent for granted. I work with people who have a work ethic, who are passionate, who are hungry.
You are working with the right people, I agree. But I'm saying not everyone who exists today is greatly talented.
Well, I feel that if you surround most people with the right worldview and the right system and the way that this conversation is happening, and you make them comfortable, I think that you can, rather than using the normal processes of filmmaking and acting, I think you can make it happen.
What is different about your process of filmmaking? Outside of, let's say, what you told Sushmita about how the cameras work around?
It's going to get a little geekily technical.
I would love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Watch out, viewer. You're going to get stuff which you may not be interested in listening to. You should have heard me speak about all those other questions that you asked about talent around. So I'm going to spend 5 minutes explaining.
Yeah.
So what happens is that normally when you make a film, everybody knows or does not know that you do this setup and then you do that setup, right? So if right now, of course, we're shooting with 3 cameras and it's happening like a conversation, and you've by and large lit this. Okay. Now, normally what would happen is that in a film, your shots would have been taken, and then, or my shots would have been taken, and then you'd go to the makeup van, you say, mera shot jab ready hoga tab bulana. Okay. Now, I find that like first disrespectful to the actor or to the co-actor. I find that that does not allow you to get to truth. I find that is fake. I find that is an industrial process of filmmaking, which I call the handcuffs of filmmaking. What it should be is this. So when I'm shooting, first of all, I don't use lights at all. No cinema lights. So because I feel that there is a certain intimidation that happens, and there is a certain fakeness that happens with all the things that we are used to making. And in any case, it doesn't look great unless you're trying to beat some of the best work that the world has done. So I decided to invent a system which I call a System 360, where the people that I work with go into long takes, where they basically get into what I call as no action, no cut, like I said. But I'm trying to get to an interiority and not an exteriority. I'm not here interested in you acting. I'm interested in you being. What you're doing just now,
got it,
and what I'm doing just now is being. And we're ourselves. Now, how do you get to that process is the boring part of life. So I won't bore you all further.
No, but I would imagine that this then makes everything a lot more derivative, even in terms of the acting, right? Like you're feeding off one another far more.
Like we are right now.
Yeah.
Rather than, how shall I say, a signage, because like when the signage is when you have to, like, example, acha mera line kya hai? Mera line hai, I have a dream. Okay, now let's say that is like, theek hai. Okay, roll camera, action. You want me to, okay, ready, and I have a dream. No, sir, cut. Can you do that again, sir? There was a focus problem. Okay, sir. And sir, can you say it a little slower, please? Okay. I have a dream. Okay. Now, now, no, sir. Actually, what happened was that, can you say that with a lot more feeling? Okay. And so now I have to do, and this goes on for 20 takes, 30 takes, 40 takes. And I just don't understand how that is acting. Like, you are not here to actually say that line in that way. You are a tennis player.
You volley.
And yes, depending, or you smash, or you lob, or you serve, based on what the situation is and how you're feeling, based on the energy that I'm getting from you. And then I will speak to you and I'll tell you, I have a dream.
Yeah.
And the dream that I have, and therefore I'm no longer in the confines of in between action and cut. I'm here having a conversation with you, which allows me to be rather than to act. Now, this process is something which I have to explain to the people that I work with, which is why they say that I am what is the right word for it? An actor's director. Okay.
Very interesting. Yeah, because you have a lot of actors who do everything based on how exactly it's instructed.
Yeah, you can't. I'm not going to tell you how to act. And the last thing I will do is, can you please, say that line again? But when you say that line again, say, as instructed. Okay. And I want to drop on the word head. And how dare I act that out for you? My job as a director is not to show you how to act. My job as a director is not to tell you how to act. My job as a director is not to tell you how to say a line. My job as a director is to provide you with a 360-degree energy to make you actually feel so comfortable that you don't realize you're acting. You don't even know when I'm capturing you. You don't even know where the camera is.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
That is very fascinating.
Yeah. So this is something which is what leads to being in the moment and leads to a conversation that is not stylized. And I have nothing wrong with stylized acting, because it's not like this. Because then if it was stylized acting, I would have come here with I would have first put on my voice. Never said, and now I'd like to tell you about stylized acting. And in telling you about stylized acting, what I'd like to say about stylized acting is that it is like this. It's a little Shakespearean. So if you're doing mythological acting, okay, then I can. Winter is coming.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't be over here saying, "Arey yaar, winter is coming na."
Yeah, of course. Fair enough.
I'm not making winter is coming. I'm making, I think winter is coming. Because that's how we talk.
Yeah. No, fair. What are the maximum number of shots, let's say, you would take for a scene?
3.
Sanjay Leela Bhansali has gone as high as like 99.
One. In life, there's no take 2. We're not taking this twice.
Yeah.
Okay, unless there's some technical issue.
Yeah.
And my focus pullers, they go all around. My hats off to my focus pullers, because I don't do a second take because my focus puller says, cut. Thoda focus ka problem ho gaya, sir. You are not the mafia. Okay, you are not here to tell me when to cut. You get your act together, and I'm not going to tell you where the actor is going to move. Because you get your act together and get your focus, and I will clap for you, and I do clap for them because they're there. Like you focus on getting focus.
Yeah, but it's very interesting. Everybody's process is so different.
Yeah.
That three takes to kuch bhi nahi hai.
Yeah, but why do you need more? Like when you're there, and obviously when I'm shooting, like, by the way, this time when I was doing The Waking of a Nation, I even did live editing. So I had my team was there, and I'm doing like this courtroom kind of thing, the commission, and my team is editing. So by the time I'm actually going back in the car, I've seen the day's edit. I don't understand how this has become so complicated.
Yeah, because people are now taking like, sometimes some people would take like over a year to do like.
It requires a lot of patience. But, I think I don't make that kind of stuff. Maybe some people need that kind of time and make that kind of stuff. I don't make that kind of stuff. So,
do you think it's because you've had like a very sort of solid base in advertising that you're just a little quicker on your feet?
No, my riyaz is better. Advertising is my riyaz. And like, for instance, you're talking about Aarya season 2 with the Holi song. And
incredible.
No, so thank you. But
I don't think that shot has left my mind. It stayed with me.
That is shot in 2 hours, that entire sequence. Because what happens is that you have music which Vishal Khurana has done, and it's a folk song. And the first time I'd heard it was Chanulal Mishra singing it. The song is from Banaras. And then we did the song. Then I basically told the team and my actors that, listen, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And then we just go out there. We then shoot it 3 times, 4 times, the whole thing. And that's like let's say it's a 3-minute take or a 5-minute take. So I'll shoot 5 minutes. Then there'll be a 45-minute or a half an hour turnaround where everybody, isko pani, bathrooms, whatever, not thandai.
Yeah.
And so whoever needs a break, and then you do it again. And you shoot it with 4 cameras again. And then you take another half an hour break and you do it again. And it's done. Because you're actually getting everybody to be as if it was happening. And you're capturing life rather than capturing cinema.
Yeah. No, I think that shows.
But you saw how cleverly I avoided your question about why is cinema dying. Well done to me.
Yeah, but see, now you've repeated it, so I can't let you go
Watch
without
me
answering
how I escape that again.
Yeah.
I'm very good at it.
No, but what is it? So please tell me.
Yes, right now, just watch out. I have the formula and I'm going to tell it to you right now. In the next minute, I'm going to tell you what is wrong with the film industry and why we're not going to theaters. Meanwhile,
why is it in ICU? Say it.
Why? Well, the reason is because, they used to be in Doordarshan times, they used to have this slide which said, Rukavat ke liye khed hai. Rukavat ke liye khed hai. So I'm sorry, that's what that slide is right now coming, okay? We'll continue. This will be our ongoing...
this is an ongoing.
This will be an ongoing thing which we'll keep coming back to.
Okay.
Why is cinema dying? And I'll try and escape that death question.
Okay. So okay, then tell me from a different lens. Okay, let's not say cinema is dying.
Right.
What has, in your sort of opinion, been the impact of OTT on cinema? Because you said even you've not gone to see a film in a while, and you're a director.
I haven't, yeah.
So that says a lot.
I'm seeing films a lot, but I'm not going to the theater to see a film.
So the experience is changing,
but
right?
Also I think I've been working a lot, so that's the reason. But see, I don't want to get into cliches because it's all received wisdom, right? And it's all public conversation, which we are all part of the same society and in the same problem, and we're trying to figure out, what to do with this. And where we are, and then depending on whether you think the glass is half full or half empty, or whether you're pessimistically optimistic or optimistically pessimistic.
Yeah, that's subjective.
Chalo. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So based on that, this answer therefore is then, and we are all hearing the same stuff, right? So I'm trying to figure out how not to say the same stuff, and I have avoided saying it again.
आप मुझे इतना घुमा रहे हो ना, आप सीधे सीधे बताओ मुझे, पिक्चर नहीं चल रही है, OTT का क्या इम्पैक्ट है? Simple question. See, you released Aarya on an OTT platform, right? And I'm actually glad it didn't turn out as a movie, because we got hours worth of storytelling.
Yeah, and when that happened the first time, I was like shattered. And then it's only later that I found that the scriptwriter in the sky was obviously writing some script.
I like that word, the scriptwriter in the sky.
Yeah. So that scriptwriter was a little slow because he took 8-9 years to write that script. Okay, I mean, you should have written that faster, you scriptwriter in the sky. But it was right. It happened at the right time. It happened to the right person. It happened at the right platform. And thanks to, at that time it was Disney Hotstar. And so and I'm happy it didn't get into a movie, quite honestly. I agree.
Yeah, because then it's like episodes and then seasons, right?
Yeah, exactly,
and then people like me got to enjoy it far more.
Yeah. You know what is one of the things about doing a woman-centric Aarya, like, where she carries a gun? The biggest problem is, where does she keep the gun?
Yeah.
Okay, because if you're wearing women's clothing, in a man's clothing, you can like shove it in your belt or wherever you want, and it doesn't matter, But when you're wearing women's clothing, then you don't know where to keep. So that means you can only keep the gun in your bag. Okay, that means a lot of the conversation is, sir, do I get in first or does my bag get in first? Into the car.
Yeah. मुझे एक याद आ रहा है scene. Either she's with the kids in the car, कहीं तो उनके पास bag में होती है.
Yeah, exactly. So she's always there for, even when she's running, no? You'll discover she has a bag in her hand because she doesn't know where to keep the gun.
But कहाँ रख सकते हैं? I'm just thinking.
No, it's very difficult. But which was one of the like conversations on a daily basis, And but anyway, we're coming back to Sushmita Sen. She's like literally, like, I call her like, Your Majesty. So a lot of the time you're basically, I'm there saying, yes, Your Majesty. So because she comes in and she changes the energy, and she's a big hugger, and if she walked into the room right now, suddenly all our eyes would say, what happened over here? And the energy will shift. And she's got that star ability, which very few people have.
Yeah.
Even in a room of 200 people.
She'll own it.
Yeah. And she's there, and suddenly everything cracked. You say, something happened over here.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And I think that somehow it was almost like, as you said, it was written for, because now I don't think I can imagine anybody else doing that role.
No, not can I. Yeah, absolutely. No, this was it. It happened like correctly. So,
how was it working with? Tell me a little more about Neerja, because somehow I don't think I've ever seen Sonam Kapoor the way you've kind of presented her.
Look, I'm very fond of her because, and I'll tell you something about Sonam, which is that she has this elder sister kind of habit. So she'll suddenly call me, if you're going for the trailer for a Neerja launch, she'll say, Ram, you must carry a handkerchief, okay? Because it gets a little hot on stage.
Sweet.
She's very sweet. And I've now, she also has a worldview that I respect. She's read, so if I talk to her about French cinema, she's seen it. If I talk to her about Milan Kundera, she's read it. And so there is a lot of stuff that you can actually have a conversation about. And apart from that, she wears clothing as like armor. So when you see her with her fashion style, okay, and I also find that that's great because she really wears clothing like, as if, hello, I'm going to be here making a statement.
But in your movie, she was in the same garment pretty much throughout,
with
right?
No makeup. And I kept telling her, I don't want makeup, Sonam, I don't want makeup. No, there's nothing on my face. There is, Sonam, remove it. I don't want no lipstick also. And of course, as an air hostess, you have to put some makeup, but then over the amount of hours. Yeah, exactly. You're meant to look haggard and you're meant to look tired. And she submitted to the system of 360, and she was there, and she actually, like, hats off to her. I remember there was one scene where she's meant to be reading a letter which has come from Shekhar, who's her boyfriend, Rabjiani. And so when she's reading the letter, and then he's given her a chocolate biscuit. Okay.
Yeah.
And the reason that he's given her a chocolate biscuit is because I love chocolate biscuits. So I said, and there is this particular chocolate biscuit that you get from Ooty. Okay. And so we got that down from Ooty. And then in that letter, he gives her a chocolate biscuit. And take one. When I'm also shooting a close-up, I do it so that all the passengers are there, even though they're not in frame, because you're reacting off each other's energy. Okay. So I did that. She reads the letter, and I was so happy that I'd forgotten that she was meant to actually take a bite of the biscuit, and she was meant to cry while she was eating the biscuit. And I just I was so happy. I went and gave her a hug. And then she started crying, and then she went and sat outside, and she said, "But you didn't get me to eat the biscuit." and I felt so bad that I had because that was the moment, and that moment I actually borrowed from a film that I had seen, which was by a director that I really admire called Krzysztof Kieslowski. Okay, and Juliette Binoche is in that film, and it's a film where uh, there's her daughter dies in a car accident, and there's this big lollipop, which belonged to her daughter. And at a certain point in the movie, she takes that lollipop and she eats that lollipop. And when she eats that lollipop, you can't, and she's obviously remembering her daughter.
Yeah.
And that's the last memory of her daughter.
Yeah.
And so I didn't show that scene to Sonam. I didn't even tell her that I had borrowed it from Kieslowski's Blue. But this was my homage to the director that I love. And so this biscuit scene, when you see her eat that biscuit, is something which I think is really one of that. And that is genuinely great acting when she's there, because it's not me directing, okay? This is not me telling an actress what to do. This is me just making it comfortable for an actress to actually go out there and perform and tap into herself. And I think in that role, Sonam most certainly was somebody that, I could not have asked for anybody else but her to actually have played it. Just like in Aarya, nobody else but Sushmita.
Yeah, I think there's a certain innocence that she brought to, that role that I really loved, in Neerja. And I think that, again, as I said, I really have enjoyed your work in representing, in how you, let's say, represent women.
But, it's not a conscious effort. And I don't want to ride the feminist train. Okay. And not even for me to even talk about that, because I'm not it's wrong for a man to be even, thinking or even talking about that. But I don't do that consciously. I am surrounded by strong women, number one. Number two, Amita, my co-producer, is one of them. And most important, I'm interested in the many roles that women play. I think that we as men play maybe one or two roles, whereas women play many, many roles. Okay, so there is a role which you'll play, which is obviously the worker, obviously the daughter, obviously the mother sometimes, obviously the sister, obviously the friend, obviously the partner or the girlfriend or the wife. And along with these 6, 7, 8 things that you're juggling all the time, trying to figure how to navigate and negotiate all these roles.
Yeah, negotiate is a good term.
Yeah, exactly. And it's true, because that negotiation is something that is also done with a lot of grace. And it is also done with people even knowing that you're negotiating it or juggling all these balls that you're that women are juggling all the time. And I'm just watching it and saying, okay, that's what you're doing. And so I'm observing it, and then I'm observing the moral choices that are, being taken. And I'm fascinated by that, which is why I'm making stuff which has women who are, how shall I say, in a way confronted with, in a way, managing, in a way succeeding, and in a way failing.
But I would define it as real.
Yes. Because
these are real women.
These are real women who are dealing with, in Neerja's case, it's also a mother, very importantly, Shabana, and I have to say Shabana ji. Okay. And with Shabana ji doing that last speech, and really the reason I made it is because how does a parent overcome the loss of their child?
Yeah.
My son is a music director, and when he comes home at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock after a music, gig, whatever, I'm awake. And I'm saying, oh, is he home? Where have you left? Etc. Etc. Okay. So I think the fact that, and we met Neerja's mother, and amazing, inspirationally, motivating woman who's basically this, and she's there in the film in the beginning, which says she's blessing us. She came actually. She was not alive when she had expired, but we released the trailer in the film. But she came for the shoot, and she's there saying "Jeete raho," khush raho. So she blessed us. It was a very special memory because Neerja was somebody that one of my friends shot the ad, which was her last ad, and then she caught the flight. One of Amita's closest friends was with her in school, and so I'd never met her, but because she was a model and she was in advertising, so we'd heard about her. So, and also thanks to Atul Kasbekar for actually coming to me and saying, listen, let's make something like this. So
yeah. But no, I was actually going to ask you something different, which is that, of course, as you said, you're surrounded by these amazing women. So very subconsciously, this is how you represent them as the real women that you see around you.
I think consciously, but without making it part of my marketing.
Fair enough.
Part of my
and
part
I think
of
that's
the
the charm, right?
Yeah.
It is, so it doesn't look intentional. It almost looks natural, right? And
exactly.
I appreciate that.
It should be, right? It should
be as it ought to be.
Yeah.
But I do wonder, and there is an opinion that I have on whether cinema should take the responsibility of actually portraying.
She's not coming to cinema is dying.
Yeah. I'm not coming to cinema is dying. You've already evaded that.
Okay.
So I'm saying that, should storytelling then feel like it has the responsibility of portraying what is right, just, moral, or at least, narrating the stories in such a way where bad behavior is reprimanded eventually?
Well, I come from a school of thought which says yes.
Yeah. And I come from a school of thought which also says yes.
There has to be a value system.
Yeah.
At the end of season 3, Aarya has to get just whatever desserts or dessert. So she has to get punished. Hindi movie picture में जब धर्मेंद्र या जो भी था एंड पिक्चर में एंड में सेंट्रल जेल जो था ना वो सेंट्रल जेल से बाहर आता था. Okay. So वो सेंट्रल जेल क्यों था? Because it was just there like literally for 30 seconds. Okay. The family is waiting outside. There was one central jail which was there in Filmistan Studios, and everybody went, and and it didn't have an inside. It was just an outside. Okay.
Yeah.
And then that gate opened, and whoever the hero came out, and the family was there because whatever that happened in that movie, that person got punished.
Yeah.
And you cannot escape it. Aarya cannot escape the fact that she did some very bad things. She may have done it for a good reason.
Yeah.
But eventually, she actually does become bad.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore, and her kids leave her and she becomes toxic. And she pays the price of under the guise of saying, ek maa apne bacche ke liye kuch bhi karengi.
Yeah.
She becomes somebody that she should not have become. And that's her downfall. And that is her punishment. And therefore, this value system, we are very, very responsible for. And certainly at Ram Madhvani Films with Amita and me, we want to put out a value system into society that speaks about what it should be eventually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I shudder to think that we would live in a world where only movies like Animal are made. I just don't get it.
Well, I haven't seen the film, so that's another question that I should...
Yeah, no, but I know you wouldn't opine on it, so I'm not even asking. After you have escaped the question of is cinema dying, I most certainly do not expect you to answer whether you liked Animal or not, or what your opinion on Mr. Vanga is. I'm not asking that, but I'm saying that personally, I shudder to think that there is a world in which all of this somehow is not seen as bad influence, because when, I don't think it's fair to say that cinema doesn't impact people.
It does.
When Salman Khan wears a haircut of Tere Naam and everybody gets it, don't tell me it doesn't impact people.
It 100% does. And even when we saw Rang De Basanti, there was a message that was sent out to society. And I think that that messaging works. There is no question. Okay. And that's why we make in advertising, we make public service ads also in a way that, sort of so that you can bring awareness and actually change people.
Yeah.
We have walked out of, I remember seeing a film with one of my favorite directors. He's like a British director called Mike Lee, and he's made some 2024 films so far. and I saw a film in Sydney when I was there for an ad film shoot, and I went to see many years ago a film called Secrets and Lies. I came out of that theater. I didn't want to talk to anybody for 2 hours. Okay, because I was just stunned by the reflection of reality and what he stood for when you make those movies. And I think that the idea, of course, we should do this without it becoming preachy. Of course, we should do it without being boring. Of course, entertainment is important.
Yeah.
But along with all of that, please, can you, in ads, they used to say, "Aapke ads hai na bahut layered hai." So I said, "Acha, uska matlab kya hota hai? Layered hai." And suddenly somebody said to me, "Aap thoda dense kaam karte ho." So I said, "Oh shit, is that a good thing or a bad thing that he's saying dense kaam karte ho?" Then I realized that, okay, listen, what I'm doing, when they say I'm doing layered work, it means that I'm actually reaching you at different parts of your body. I am getting to you in your heart, in your gut, in your head also.
Yeah.
And I think it's very important if we succeed in doing that without it becoming pakao.
Yeah. Like a movie like Three Idiots, right?
Yeah, exactly. Raju does it superbly.
I think he gets the how we in content say there are 3 content buckets that work, right? There's education, inspiration, and entertainment.
Wow,
and I think
I'm going to use this.
Yeah. Okay. And I think that he kind of intertwines all of these 3
education,
really well.
Inspiration, and entertainment.
Yeah. So content that's educative works really well because you get to learn something new. Content that's inspiring works really well because God knows we need it.
Yeah.
And entertainment always works.
Yeah, absolutely.
So somehow if you can put all of these 3 together, you have a great story.
No, I think that it's the next film I want to do is about validation and about the fact that we're is your opinion of me my identity.
That's amazing.
Nobody's going to allow me to make that film, okay?
No,
but I hope I can make it.
I hope you really can because I think it's extremely important. It's very pertinent.
Is your opinion of me my self-worth?
Yeah.
Am I only as good as you think I am?
Yeah.
And I think that those are conversations that I'm having now internally and with my writers to try and figure out how do we put out something out there that questions the very notion of like literally your own self-worth.
And I think social media has just ruined this.
Yeah. What is the measure? I'm sorry, I'm saying of a man's worth. I can say the measure of a woman's worth. What is the measure of your worth? And how are you going to measure it?
Yeah.
Okay, of course, you can measure it with money and it's a measurable and it's important.
Yeah.
And of course, you can measure it now with a health report, and that's another measurement that it's almost like your final exams, Earlier, they used to give you exam reports in school. Now they give you health reports. And you get your profit and loss statement. And I think that apart from the regular measurements of a woman's or a man's worth, what are the other measurements that we can actually put out there which can quantify and qualify how are you going to measure your worth? And that's really what I'm, is me going for a walk in the evening the measure of my worth? And is that okay? If that is the measure of my worth.
I would have said the first thing that comes to my mind is quality of my relationships.
Right. But how do you actually...
There's no quantifiable sort of measure.
Meaning how can you say, of course we all have friends, of course we all have family, of course we all have relatives, of course we all sometimes ignore them, love them, fight with them, all of that. But what are you going to turn around and say that this is your that acha aapko apne worth mein you got 6 on 10, you didn't get 8 on 10. Okay, and maybe +1 for good handwriting.
Yeah.
In school, my report card used to say, Ram is a sincere boy, but he can do better. What was your report card?
Good only. I was one of those
you were one of those
nerdy topper kids, so always good. They were kind to me.
And my epitaph in my gravestone, of course, I'm a Hindu, so I won't have a gravestone, but my epitaph will say Ram is a sincere boy, but he can do better.
That's a good one to have.
I'm not too sure about that.
It's like you're a constant work in progress, no?
Yeah, but That checklist, no, the to-do list, which is there on your phone and on all our phones. At which point in our lives is that checklist and that to-do list? I suppose the day that to-do list is no longer there, you're dead.
Or free.
Or free.
Or free.
Of what?
Of whatever, I don't know, these unnecessary burdens that we're carrying. Perhaps one of them is the burden of what other people think of us.
Right. There's a great song which was there in Woodstock called Freedom. I think it was done by a man called Richie Havens. And it said, freedom, freedom, sometimes I feel like a motherless child.
Fascinating.
Yeah, exactly.
Freedom, freedom, sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Yeah. Yeah.
But no, but this became a little heavy. Sorry, let's go back to...
No, that's perfectly
Let's go
fine.
back to... You're getting like the whole 4-quadrant 360 view of me, okay?
Yeah, but I love it. This is how I'm shooting your film. Then more people will watch it. So tell me something. What was your experience like working with Kartik Aaryan?
You know, with Kartik, I actually had approached him 2 or 3 years before we did Dhamaka, and it was for another film. And then because of COVID, that film didn't happen. And then one day Kartik called me during COVID and said, I have a film that I'd like you to make, and it's a Korean film. And I saw the film, and then it's a very good film, and I liked it. And then I said, yeah, Kartik, I don't know whether I want to make a remake. And then Kartik said, let's do it, sir. It's going to be great, etc. And because I wanted to work with him, so we did it. And we shot the film. I mean, not that I want to, tom this as a, oh, great and all the rest of that, but we shot it very fast. It was during COVID. We shot it in 11 days.
What?
Yeah. And including the song. And Ronald came into the thing, and Amrita Subhash was like, both of them were very strong and very good.
1 second.
Yeah.
11 days.
Yeah, I'm now moving forward. So yeah, we shot it very fast.
Spectacular.
Yeah, and we shot it with some 7 cameras, and with full COVID lockdown, and with 12-hour days and with proper lunch breaks. I like giving my team lunch on time, and I like basically shooting so that everybody knows their shift time. I don't go over shift. And so we shot it really fast, and then it took us a little longer for post-production. And so Kartik was extremely hungry, came on time, gave of himself, extremely, an actor who's very, very aware about what is happening and where the camera is and how to, how shall I say, what to tap into to get an expression. And I enjoyed working with him, genuinely enjoyed working with him. And I had like at the end of the experience, it's something which, because he also submitted to the System 360 long takes, and he obviously has a great memory. That's one thing that
we've seen that in the monologues.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the only thing actually that I think my actors need to have, which is what Sonam also has, which is that if I tell her, okay, Sonam, we are going to be going from here down this aisle, then you go here, you go to the bathroom, then Jim will knock on the door, then you'll come out, then you'll serve water, and this whole thing will happen over 20 minutes, and the guy will get shot in between. And she's there, yeah, it's not a problem, yeah. And you feel, but Sonam, did you? And
did you register it?
She's got an elephant's memory. Okay, and all these actors that I've worked with, whether it's Sushmita or Kartik, that's the one thing that I've really lucked out on. That and even now when I'm doing Waking of a Nation with Taruk Raina, who comes from the theatre, he knows his pages, he knows his lines. And even with Kartik, it would be, he'd like read it, and even if he'd made some change on the spot, you read it once, you read it twice, okay. He's like, tak, it's like, and it's like there.
Do you think Kartik Aaryan is like the next big thing?
Well, certainly, and I hope so for him and for all of us. We need actors, we need more talent, we need people who we can all go to. We need people coming into the theatre, we need box office returns, we need people who people want to see. So all of this is important, and I think whether it's an IPL or whether it is in movies, we all need heroes or heroines, and we need people who we can look up to, and we want to go to that match because of that cricketer or because, and therefore that's the next generation of cricketing star had also better be there, because currently we are like, we had Dravid, and then we had obviously, we had before that Gavaskar, and then obviously we had Tendulkar, and then sort of we've had Virat, and we've had so Ganguly, and we've had all of these people. Now this next generation of hero, because we need the next generation of hero.
Yeah, I will give it to you, sir. You will circle around things really well. I love it. The 360 goes like that.
Is that like, are you saying like I'm being diplomatic?
No. You're being immersive.
That's nice, because I've just done a virtual reality short film, and see how I've changed the subject.
It's an immersive experience.
It is my virtual reality short film. I've just done a 5-minute short film, because I want to see where this is on a more serious note.
Yeah.
For all those people who are not wearing or have not worn VR glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's where we are all going to be going. It's one of those places where you're not going to get distracted by, today I can't show you a 1-minute teaser that I've made without the phone, without you looking at your phone.
Agreed.
Okay. So that means in this age of distraction, maybe one of the reasons that we are not seeing the movies as, sort of, or wanting to see them as much, is because of the age of distraction. Now, with the good thing about the VR experience, I've done a 5-minute short film. If the phone is ringing or not, you are immersed. You're watching it. Okay. And therefore, this, and I've used AI, and therefore, what we're trying to now do as filmmakers is how to make sure that the audience is going to actually watch us.
So we've answered the question that cinema a little bit is dying.
Who said that? Who said this? I didn't say it.
It's implied. And we've acknowledged that Kartik Aaryan is probably the next big thing.
Yeah, I think that we want definitely more and more such next big things. And we want, actually, I must say, I want cinema not to die. I want cinema to live. So if I'm not answering that question, I've been wanting to make movies sometime from the time I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
I have said in the past that I come from a small town called Barsi. While I was in St. Peter's, Panchgani, watching movies on Saturday night in the assembly hall, I was also in Barsi, where there were 4 theaters named after the Mangeshkar sisters. And my family knew one of the theater owners. And the best part of my growing up life was nothing else but my experience of being in the theater. The chair used to be put, it was a houseful show, didn't matter. The chair used to be put for me. I used to walk into that hall as an 8-year-old kid. I used to be given Mangola, which doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Mangola is definitely dying or dead.
Yeah.
Cinema is not.
Yeah.
Okay, so is cinema dying? There is a person in me that will never, ever want it to or admit it. So if you find me going here and there, it's only because I'm so passionately a believer.
I respect that.
Okay, that I will not. It's like when a parent is, or anybody and a relative is in the hospital, and if you are part of the relative who's in the hospital, are you going to actually acknowledge, admit, or want to pull the plug? And I don't want to acknowledge, admit, or pull the plug.
Fair enough. I can deeply respect that emotion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And therefore, I'm coming from something which is, look, if that happens, then it means that I am dead. And I currently, of course, we all have some lifespan in front of us, but thankfully, we're all blessed with the DNA of thinking that we are immortal.
But, I feel like if we, and this is a novice's sort of, whatever, as just an observer.
But I'm a novice also.
Yeah.
I'm an observer
No.
also.
I mean, okay, then I don't know what I am. But I'm saying, like, what's the catch? Like, are we not making budget-friendly films? If we just control the budgets, you think we can make them work somehow?
Again, I don't want to be in a position where I'm founting stuff. I'm nobody to be founting stuff. We have a small production house which is sort of making a small space on the map for ourselves.
Yeah.
We are not a big production house. We are not in the return of investment, sort of burdens that everybody has. So far, we've made literally like the only movie that we've made, which was not, we were the associate producers of, which was Neerja. And so I'm in no position, I haven't really walked that walk. Okay. And I think all this that we're talking about is all received wisdom.
Yeah.
Okay. And therefore we have seen enough examples that prove it and enough examples that don't prove it. Okay. And we've seen enough movies that are completely randomly over budget, but have also actually done exceedingly well.
Or then you have a Lapata Ladies, which is really small budget,
exactly,
which is done really well. Yeah, right? Or 12th Fail.
Yeah. So therefore, I remember being on a panel once with Yash Chopra, and he said, so he was asked, sir, what is the problem about, getting money from financial institutions? He said, passion. And I think that what we are really looking for today is people who just have the passion to go out there and make those movies or whatever that we feel like making. My next movie is a masala commercial movie, which will be about a woman. But I want to go out there and I want to do it with songs. I want to do it with lip sync songs. And I want to do it so that I embrace Hindi cinema and the cinema that we grew up on. Okay. So
really looking forward to it.
Watch out. 6 songs coming your way.
Wow. Very unexpected from you, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Watch out.
Yeah.
And I better tell everybody over there that, listen, it will be about another strong woman.
Love it.
But it will also be about somebody who is going to be part of our cinematic heritage.
Am I guessing a biopic?
No, it's not going to be a biopic.
Yeah.
No, it's not going to be a biopic.
Is it already like...
No, there's no announcement at all. I dare not even put it out into the air because I feel if I do that, then, it may not happen.
It'll happen.
Thank you. Okay.
We're manifesting it.
Yes,
I would love to see it.
Great. Done.
Yeah.
I shall call you in 1 year's time. Also, can you manifest it so that there is a time to it? So
of course,
okay, done. I have to start shooting it in the next year.
Of course,
okay,
but
done.
You are finishing films in 11 days. How does it matter? Your post-production, if it works, you're okay. Well in time for March 2026.
No, but there used to be DOPs earlier. No, sir, I'm very fast काम करता हूँ. And then he became known as a fast DOP rather than a good DOP. So I don't want to go out there and tell people that I just shot that film in those many days. It was during a certain time in our lives and it was during COVID. So we had to do it. And it was eventually, I like closed room stuff. So Neerja in a way was 200 passengers in a plane. And therefore it was, that also happened in 12 days actually. The rest of it was another 18 days, but the plane stuff happened in 12 days. Okay.
Yeah, what? 40 days? This is unheard of.
32.
18 and 12, 30 हो गया.
30 plus 2 दिन for patchwork.
मैंने post production थोड़ा ऐसे सोचा और भी करा होगा आपने.
नहीं, post तो like that will take that's something I haven't yet cracked.
उतना ही time लगता है post में.
It just takes. It took me now a year to edit this new series that we've done, which is on Sony Live called The Waking of a Nation.
Yeah.
Even though I was editing live the commission scenes, the rest of it and the whole thing has taken me a year to edit because I also shoot a lot. So I end up using 3% of what I have shot. Okay.
Fascinating. Very fascinating.
Not that I'm doing many takes.
97% का क्या करते हो फिर आप?
97% is stuff which is there to get the actor into the zone. So I make sure, like, for instance, if we were to have this conversation, then normally what would happen is that this conversation would get cut down into, let's say, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. It may not.
Yeah.
But it would then get cut down. But it is only this conversation that allows you, because we're having this conversation, to have a before action and an after cut. So that you can get to in between.
Yeah.
You can then cut it to that. So invariably, you would throw away 50% of this, okay, of this conversation. We were on Indian Idol the other day, and it was like a great experience, okay, because there was, apart from Vishal Dadlani and Shreya Ghoshal and Badshah were part of the judges, Taruk sang. He's a great singer, and he sang one of the Kabir songs that we have with Samiruddin is on the music. But the most amazing thing was Hema Malini was the judge, was the chief guest. And it was a Holi special. And I must say, to just see her there, because obviously I've grown up on, from Basanti to Dream Girl. So it was quite a memory. It was like Taruk went around saying, "Sir, this is a core memory. This is a core memory, sir. This is a core memory."
No, but tell me something. You're talking about editing and taking a year. Are you editing differently now? Because again, this is just something I've read.
Right.
Where now the way we're even, let's say, doing choreography in songs.
Right.
It's so that they fit reels right.
Right.
That there's a hook that can be caught on. There's like quick changes within seconds, because now we're imagining it like it were to be on social media. Are you editing your films differently or your work differently?
No, I'm editing it. I did the commission live only because I shoot a lot and I just wanted to see what it was like. But I'm not editing differently. But I must say that when I see, I went for the Coldplay concert, they're not editing it differently or they're not doing it differently. But still there is and I feel that movies have now become concert hall experiences. And so when I went to see Coldplay live in Singapore, and then I really want to go and see Taylor Swift and I want to go and see Billie Eilish live and sort of and just see what they're doing and how they're changing those clothes. At least Taylor Swift and how she doing that in God knows 12 seconds. And what is the kind of entourage that they have to remain healthy? That's a big deal, right? Because how you're making sure that you have the energy to do this every day through that entire, and okay, that's one thing that you're Taylor Swift or you're Chris Martin, but what about Mick Jagger? And how is he doing it?
No, it's true.
At whatever, 75 or whatever.
Yeah, it's true. and a lot of this, by the way, is driven by the fact that now our attention spans are just horrid. So we need a lot of visual stimulation, which is why I was asking, are you keeping that in mind when you're making what you're making?
No, I'm not. I better, right? My work is layered and dense.
I love it. And I hope it stays that way. I think it's brilliant.
No, thank you for that. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being a believer, and thank you for actually, sort of, I know that there is a part of you that is coming to view it because of the kind of women there are. Which are portrayed, and sort of even when we were doing Dhamaka, Amrita Subhash's role was a man's role in the original, and we made it into a woman's role. So there was a certain, and it's just great to just work with her and Runal. But I think that we just do it out of a sort of conscious awareness. We don't take those conversations lightly in the writer's room.
And I'm so glad that that's true. And I'm so glad some people are doing it.
Yeah. And, I don't need to, I think some of the best work done about women is by men, and some of the best work done by about women is by women. Did I say that right? Okay.
Some of the best work, maybe you wanted to say, done about men as by women.
Yeah, exactly. So basically, I don't look at it in that way that, only a woman can talk about, a woman, and only a man can talk about a man.
I agree.
I think that we are fine, sort of trying to figure out how to actually just talk about life.
Yeah, you know how they say that some of the most iconic characters are men written by women. That's like the most beautiful sort of genre that you have, like an Irfan Khan in Piku.
Exactly.
Or like a Sunny in Dil Dhadakne Do, like that Farhan Akhtar played. These are all like men written by women, and they're brilliant. So similarly, women written by men are also brilliant.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And I think that really what we're trying to do is, as soon as you're agenda driven, then you're in trouble.
Yeah, I agree. Fair enough. You should be passion driven, as you said.
Yeah, and character driven, and story driven, and conflict driven, and driven by the moral choices that your character is put into, and then how do they get out of those problems. And so all of this is an obstacle driven and hurdle driven, and that's what you have to, and drama driven.
Yeah, fair enough. Sir, from your busy schedule, how do you unwind after hours? What do you do to chill, to relax?
So a couple of things. One is that, our mothers used to, and our grandmothers used to have those keys that they kept in their sari, no? Jo guchha jo kehte hain.
Challa.
So, challa. Okay, now that challa of inspiration, that challa of motivation, that challa of your own passion and self-drive, first of all, I don't give it to anybody else.
Okay.
Okay, I keep it with me because there are enough people out there who are going to slap me and box me to take that away from me, because I am in the business of rejection. I'm in the business of, like I said, I'm only as good as you think I am. Okay. That means we are in a very fragile business, a very fragile world. Others' opinions, our likes on Instagram are important for us.
Yeah.
How many views you got are important for you. And I think that therefore we have to now see how we're going to navigate while wanting that, while feeling that, how we're going to navigate your own, can I use a word that you may have to cut out? How are you going to wear a condom on your soul?
We don't have to cut it out.
You don't have to cut it out.
We don't have to cut it out. So long as you don't take a brand name, we're okay.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's something that we're going to have to train ourselves. And I think it's very important to have a decompress ritual at the end of the day.
What's your decompress ritual?
So, unfortunately, alcohol is not a good thing. A glass of red wine is a great thing.
It's a great thing. Yeah, I will agree with you.
Exactly.
It's a great thing.
Where you can sit down and just pour yourself that glass of red wine. But however, more and more now I'm having zero alcohol, but I pour it in a glass, which looks like it is a red wine glass, but I'm having zero alcohol. But it does the same thing. I'm not interested in the buzz. I'm not interested in the alcohol. I'm just interested in the ritual of decompressing. It's like how a diver needs to come out from that deep dive. Otherwise, wo nitrogen ho jata hai body mein, you know. So you need to take that 10-15 minutes. So when you come home, you need to actually spend that time decompressing.
Yeah.
And hopefully that decompressing ritual, whatever that it could be a hot bath, it could be just you know, whatever it is that you do, that it needs to be something which you need to embrace with a certain, say, okay, this is my decompress ritual. Yeah. Okay, this is me coming out so that I can breathe. अभी तक मेरा body में nitrogen है, तो जब तक वो nitrogen release नहीं होगा, तब तक, you know, I'm okay.
No, but someday, hopefully, your lovely wife, you and I can have a glass of Chianti together. I look forward to it.
Yes, that would be great. Amita actually is not a great red wine drinker herself, but whatever, she will have a drink and we can sit down and chat. She is the force and the protector behind and in front of Ram Madhvani Films, and she's the person who's actually even decided to call it Ram Madhvani Films, because I said, "Arey yaar, Amita, don't do that. It's an act of vanity." And she said, "But everybody only knows you, so you have to call it should." Like I said, I was making a corny joke. I said it should be called Amita Ram Madhvani Films, and that's why I was saying it's ARM. Rather than RMF, because she's the arms.
Yeah.
Okay, behind this, she's the person who. And I keep saying she's like the center forward, you know. So if there is a problem, and she'll only come in, she's like Pele. Okay, so she does this banana kick. Okay, so you give her the ball, and whether it's dealing with the studio or whatever, everybody knows, okay, Amita has now got the ball.
And then it'll be done.
It is going to get done. Yeah. And one of the lines that we've used in The Waking of a Nation is, you want to get something done, give it to a busy woman.
You know, I will very emphatically
exactly.
and vociferously agree with that.
Absolutely. No matter how maxed out that woman is, she'll get it done.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that is something that Amita does for us. And at the same time, the other thing is that by nature, she's a happy person. And
those are great. They need to be preserved.
Yes. So what happens is that, again, for all you people who are listening to advice, the one thing that I'll say is that get married to a happy person.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to quickly play a little game, and please do not be evasive. It is my sincere and humble request.
Listen, that is said with such force that I'm shivering, I'm shaking, saying like that was like daggers. Okay.
It's called,
it was not a sincere request at all. It was a command. Yeah, it was a threat. Yeah, exactly.
So the game is, who do you think we would catch? Okay. And all the actors that you work with or not, that you know of. Stalking their ex.
Stalking what?
Their ex.
Stalking their ex? Like, I'm not even going to get there.
Will you tell me off camera?
I'll tell you off camera. Bas theek hai, chalo.
Chalo, theek hai. Ye wala mujhe pata tha,
I'm sorry, your daggers in your eyes didn't work.
You know, a lot of people have been saying that to me lately. Okay, sleeping on set.
Like during, I'll tell you, one of the great sleepers is Aamir Khan. I've worked with him in Satyamay Jayate. I did a music video, and I did Tari Zameen Par, I did a song. Aamir can sleep anywhere. Okay, so if I was shooting, let's say in Sikkim, and we're shooting in some Momo place, and he'd sleep on that table, he would be fast asleep. Acha, Ram, shot kab hai? So Aamir will take us another half an hour. Acha, theek hai, main so jata hu. So amazing, amazing. Lucky. Aamir is wonderful like that.
Yeah. Getting hangry on set.
Oh gosh. Like, I found that every actor is so conscious about, like, you know, sort of their eating habits now that I have not seen any of them actually binging on stuff. Everybody is like, so now, you know,
but like, if they're hungry, then they're angry. That's hangry.
No, but I know, but I have not found that they're doing it out of hunger. Hunger is something that they don't know. I have not seen an actor who's saying, "Arey, mere ko bahut bhook laga hai." I have not seen that. Okay, they're basically, even somebody like Anil Kapoor, okay, who's so conscious about what he eats. Okay, I've never seen, and I've never worked with him professionally, but I've met him. I've never seen any of these actors say, "Arey, let's eat something," because it's I think only us who are, you know, sort of using food as as ways to overcome all that we do. Food, I don't think, is their go-to thing.
Getting late on shoot, on call time.
I don't suffer that. I don't. My actors come on time. Sushmita Sen comes on time. Kartik Aaryan comes on time.
I think
I run my set in a Germanic precision. Okay,
Chalo,
I'm like that Japanese train. If I say the camera has to roll at 9:30, if it doesn't roll at 9:30, I won't take the shot. I'll just stop. I'll just say, okay, that shot is not there. Let's move on. Okay, but so I genuinely schedule a shoot so that it works. So I'm sorry, I'm being boring, but it's true.
Yeah.
Don't work with me if you're not going to be on time. I was on time today.
You
also.
were before time. I appreciate that.
You know, Shabana Azmi said to me, she said, "Waqt pe aana, yani waqt se pehle aana."
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, like suggesting changes to the script or the scene.
Everybody, and they must and they should. I'm here to, in the service of my actor. All of them do, and I listen to each and every one of them. I'm here for them.
Yeah.
There is nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Asking out a co-actor.
Asking out a co-actor?
Yeah, on a date.
I don't know that part of their lives. I really...
Kuch to bol
I
do.
don't know that part. I am here to work with them. I really don't know that part of their lives.
They don't discuss anything with you?
Not about that part of it. Sometimes I've had conversations about, you know, sort of, let's say, Sushmita's children, or sometimes I've had conversations about what they're going through, but not about, like, you know, that is something which is something which I wish they had told me. I would have told you.
You know, I will re-ask these questions over that Chianti.
Okay,
I have a feeling you'll give me different answers.
You're bribing me.
Whatever works.
Okay.
I'm outcome driven. No, but thank you, sir.
No, thank you.
I'm
sorry for being boring about these things. You please get somebody spicy next time. I'm just a boring middle-class person, so sorry about that.
No, you're a very interesting person, and I love everything that you do.
Oh, that word again. Oh.
And thank you for you know, sort of making really, really sort of iconic, you know, works of art, and we look forward to everything else.
I don't know about that works of art thing, but we're here struggling away, trying to make work that can actually, you know, sort of move people. And I'm happy that you have got emotionally affected and moved by what you have seen. I think that you will take away from this conversation the fact that you did sit across someone who's really enjoyed your work. Yes, yes, and you would ask me. Therefore, is this something that is the conversation something that I was happy with? Yes, I'm thanking you genuinely. It was comfortable, it was casual, and I'm feeling good. Oh, thank you so much. Before you go, we actually have a gift for you. Okay, now I'll tell you everything.
It's worked.
It's worked.
Now you can tell me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Here we go.
It's just to spice up